Hey folks, good morning and welcome to this episode of MC Commute starring Honda's 2025 XR150L. Who's ready to go for a ride? All right everyone, there it is, Honda's 2025 XR150L. This is a lightweight dual sport bike from American Honda. Now the cool thing about this motorcycle is not only can you ride it on the road, but you can ride it off-road. And what the really cool thing is, this vehicle only retails for $3,300 in America. How crazy is that? You buy a brand new Honda vehicle, 2025 model year, for only $3,300. It's powered by Honda's tried and true 150cc single cylinder air-cooled engine with a 5-speed transmission. Look at this thing. It definitely is a little bit smaller in stature, but still is a real full-size motorcycle. Who's ready to go for a ride on this bad boy? Let's go.
Now, seated on the controls of this motorcycle in typical American Honda configuration is very comfortable. This seat is relatively wide and it's very much like a street bike seat as opposed to a skinny dirt bike seat. So the seat on this motorcycle is much more orientated toward street biking than off-road riding, which is a good thing because we're street biking right now. This motorcycle is a little bit cramped for a 6-foot-tall, 190-pound rider, but at the same time, it's not overly cramped. You can still feel pretty good on the seat. There's room to move back and forth in the saddle, and it's not bad at all. This steel handlebar, originally the sweep was really far back, so I just loosened these 12mm bolts and rotated the handlebar a little bit forward. That gave me a little bit more room in the cockpit and just felt a little bit more natural. It's just nice you can do that. Not a lot of frills here in the ergonomics department. It's a motorcycle. The handlebar is very street orientated where it's got a lot of rearward sweep, but still pretty good. You can obviously ride this motorcycle in the seated or standing position. In the standing position, the ergonomics feel a little bit more cramped, but again, we talked about this motorcycle is designed for a little bit smaller riders, but still, if you're 6 foot tall, you can definitely fit on it. Now, the foot pegs are again, we like the serration in the foot pegs, which is really good because it puts a nice grip against the sole of your shoes or boots, which is nice, but again, a little bit small. At the same time, this motorcycle is very narrow and the seat height's very low. So if you're new to riding or you've never ridden a motorcycle, this one is a good option for you, even though it weighs kind of a lot for a bike of its size, but we'll get to that in a little bit. This motorcycle is powered by a 149cc single cylinder engine, air-cooled with a 2-valve cylinder head. This engine is good for right around 11 horsepower and 8 pound-feet of torque. So nothing to write home about in terms of power, but it gets the job done and it has plenty of acceleration to get up to highway speeds, which is really nice. It's mated to a 5-speed manual transmission with this cable actuated clutch. Again, the clutch release it's really well weighted. Usually back in the past we'd see bikes this price point that would have really wimpy clutches that were real wispy and not really well weighted. This clutch is really well weighted, which I like, makes it feel like a quality motorcycle. And of course, you still don't need to have a lot of strength in your left hand to actuate this clutch. It's really nice. It meshes between each of the 5 cogs. Really nice, solid shifting feel. The throw isn't too long nor too short. And again, this is a really easy motorcycle to get a hang of. Now, this motorcycle drinks from a 2.8 gallon capacity fuel tank, so very generous fuel capacity. And you're not going to believe this, but this motorcycle gets nearly 100 miles per gallon. Can you believe that? A motorcycle in 2025, a gasoline-powered motorcycle in 2025 that gets nearly 100 miles per gallon. That's right. This thing is very easy on the fuel. Again, it doesn't have a ton of acceleration power. We're riding at full throttle right now, but it is enough power to get up to speed and have some fun. The character of this engine, it's got some buzz to it, but it's not overwhelming. For an air-cooled single, this engine certainly doesn't vibrate too much. It's really smooth. I like that the throttle response is a tad muted. Again, that just makes it easier to ride for all of you folks that might not have a lot of experience here. And away we go, folks. Ooh, engine's got some good high RPM sound when you get it revving. The cool thing about riding these small bikes is you can ride them fast, and riding them fast it's really rewarding just because they don't make a lot of power, and it just makes you feel like a kid. So really neat bike. Now this motorcycle rolls on spoked aluminum wheels in 1917-inch configuration with dual sport tires. So you can ride this motorcycle on-road and off-road. The fork offers just over 7 inches of suspension travel, and the rear shock offers just over 6 inches of rear suspension. And in typical American Honda form, this motorcycle glides over the road. Yes, it is softly sprung. Yes, the valving on it is fast. But it's a $3,300. Did I spill the beans already? That's right, $3,300 for this motorcycle in the United States. Still going over this road, this motorcycle, it does a nice job. It's very comfortable. It's going over the bumps really nice. And we're still going 55 miles per hour, which is quite a bit faster than this corner allows. Now with a full tank of fuel, this motorcycle weighs in at 282 pounds. So kind of heavy for a motorcycle of its size, but when you're riding it, you would never think that it's that heavy. It feels very nimble, very agile. It's very low to the ground. We talked about the diminutive ergonomics package and how that makes this motorcycle just so forgiving to ride.
Well, everyone, so far so good on Honda's 2025 XR150L Street Legal Dual Sport. This motorcycle is a hoot to ride. It doesn't look like much out on the road, but once you get behind the handlebar, it's actually really fun. And that price, I don't even know how American Honda can offer this vehicle in America for $3,300. That's less than the cost of some manual powered pedal bikes, which is just crazy. And this motorcycle looks really neat. Of course, the headlight's a little bit too blah for us, but it's still got cool lines here with the bodywork and the shrouds. I like that long fender, which does a good job of keeping the debris from hitting you when you're riding in the dirt. And there's that seat. Look how broad and supportive it is. And we have a luggage rack right here, so you can strap on a cooler. You can also bring a passenger with the passenger foot pegs. And all in all, for its price, you're going to really be hard pressed to find a better value in motorcycling. Well, everyone, enough talking about this thing. Let's continue our ride. Let's go.
All right, folks, where were we? Yes, the compact ergonomics. It still works okay for a 6-foot tall rider. Now, we talked about the engine, 150cc single-cylinder engine, but this engine, if you can even believe it, is carbureted, which is kind of strange. Carburetor, what is that? Well, that is a mechanical type fuel delivery system. So in lieu of electronic fuel injection, we have a carburetor. And you might laugh, but this bike actually runs really good with that carburetor. Of course, if the bike hasn't been started in a while or it's been sitting for a while, you might need to use a choke. There's a manual choke lever on the bottom of the carburetor. It's really big, easy to use. So you need to use that choke lever when the motorcycle is cold or hasn't been ridden in a while. Otherwise, it starts right up. This motorcycle just goes over the bumps so well, and it's no sporting bike by any means, but it goes around turns nice, and it's fun. It's a fun motorcycle. Knowing that we're getting nearly 100 miles per gallon really makes it a lot more fun, just because this motorcycle is so economical. It's pretty crazy because just the affordability index of this vehicle, $3,300, nearly 100 miles per gallon of fuel. You can bring a passenger. It's got that luggage rack, so you can bring a cooler or your backpack. You don't have to wear it. You can strap it to that luggage rack. This motorcycle is extremely practical. And we haven't even talked about the ability for it to go off-road. You can ride fire roads, off-road trails, however crazy you want to get, you can take this bike on there. And it's legal because it's plated and it has a headlight and tail light and turn signals. Speaking of the lighting on this vehicle, in typical non-American Honda form, this motorcycle is not equipped with LED lighting, which is a little strange. Even its Grom and Monkey motorcycles, I guess the Monkey is a little bit more expensive, come with LED lighting, so it's kind of strange that this motorcycle is just a halogen bulb setup, but it is what it is. Still functional. It's still nice that you can ride this motorcycle after dark. The instrumentation on this bike is very analog, especially in today's world. You don't see a lot of motorcycles with these swept face analog gauges, but this bike has it. But it works really good, easy to see your speed. There's no tachometer, but you can hear the sound of the engine, and it's actually surprising how little vibration this engine has. This engine's like very, very smooth for an air-cooled single-cylinder engine. So realistically, you're not going to really be able to tell how high this engine's revving based on the vibration, because there's not a lot, but you can certainly hear the engine, and that will give you a gauge on the vibration. There we go. Higher RPM, some vibration creeps through the handlebar and foot pegs, but it's certainly not off-putting. Then we have this display here with the turn signals, the head beam, and the neutral light. Neutral is located between first and second gear, so when you come to a stop, you want to take the gear shift lever, go all the way to the bottom, which is first gear, half a click up, and that's neutral, and then you can roll the motorcycle forward and back. This motorcycle comes with dual brakes. Up front we have a hydraulic disc front brake, and out back we have a mechanical rear drum brake. Of course, considering the price point and the user on this motorcycle has no ABS, it's full manual braking, so you can certainly lock up the front or back tire if you squeeze the front brake lever too aggressively or push on that rear brake pedal too swiftly. But the brakes do a good job of shedding speed on this 282-pound bike. Brake bite is modest, which is good. Again, you can be a person new to riding, you don't have to worry about jabbing the brakes. You can jab the brakes a little bit and the bike doesn't get crazy. So I'd say this motorcycle is a very good motorcycle to learn how to ride on, and the ability to be able to just ride off-road legally is just awesome. Let's give this thing the barriers. We're giving this bike full barriers right now, and nothing to write home about in the acceleration department, but it still pulls really nicely. We're approaching highway speeds. There we go. It's worth noting that this vehicle is not freeway capable in the state of California. The engine is below the displacement threshold for freeway operation. You can't legally operate this motorcycle on the freeway, but you can on a highway like we are riding. If you want a freeway capable small motorcycle, may we recommend Honda's ADV 160 scooter. That motorcycle or scooter has engine displacement just over the threshold for freeway operation in the Golden State. Still, this motorcycle certainly can get up to nearly freeway speeds as we approach 65 miles per hour down the hill. As we approach 70 miles per hour, 69 miles per hour, my favorite number. So certainly enough to get you to where you want to go. Even at this relatively elevated high RPM, the engine vibration isn't overpowering. This is a really nice small displacement air-cooled single. Good job, Honda. Of course, we don't have any wind protection, but realistically this motorcycle doesn't generate enough velocity to really need that type of wind protection. I like these rearview mirrors. They do a nice job of showing what's going on behind you. They're round. They don't vibrate too much because the engine's so smooth. This fuel tank cap is a little bit old school. I like that it's got a key to ignition, so you can't just open the fuel tank cap. You have to remove the key to do it. I think it's a neat feature. And away we go. Finally, everyone, some turns. Now we're talking top gear, 60 miles per hour, and we're mobbing around turns.
Well, everyone, that was a blast riding Honda's 2025 XR150L street legal dual sport bike. This motorcycle is just a hoot. It's crazy comfortable. The engine doesn't vibrate that much. Yeah, it only makes 11 horsepower, but it's still capable of going 69 miles per hour. It's not freeway legal, but it is able to ride on the highway. And it's actually surprisingly comfortable for a small little dual sport bike. If you needed something to run around town on, or ride up into the hills real quick, or just kind of scoot around on, that you can ride on and off road, you'd be hard pressed to find a nicer bike than this $3,300 XR150L. Yeah, it doesn't look the coolest, but it also doesn't look terrible. And it kind of reminds me of the old Honda trail bikes and the old Honda air-cooled motorcycles that we all grew up with as kids. And now you can relive that in 2025 with this $3,300. It's also worth mentioning this motorcycle carries a 1-year warranty and it's built in Mexico. Well, everyone, that wraps up our official MC Commute on the 2025 Honda XR150L. If you can't tell, I really like this motorcycle. It's a good value, it's fun to ride, and you definitely need one in your garage. We'll see you in the next episode.